How to Be an Effective Member by Dr. Fidudos. I will talk about how to be an effective member.
User joined your channel.
By covering following points: the jobs of a squad member, the communications in a squad, and positioning, which I think will take the most part, or should take the most part. Okay, what's a squad in my opinion? A squad in my opinion is a group of people or units who play the objective, who relay information to the squad lead or to the other people, other team members or squad members, and squad members can operate independently from the squad lead, so they don't need a babysitter for every action. So with this, how could I say? With this schematic, really cheap schematic, you see the squad lead gives an objective, and usually the objective have a boundary, like defend the fob, which means you can stay on the fob or around the fob.
User disconnected from your channel.
But you don't go to the next cap or do whatever you want. That's one point you have to learn a bit. So if I say defend the cap and there's a fob next to the cap, obviously you have to defend the fob as well, and you just need to get the game intelligence to make the call. Okay, we defend the cap, but nobody's on the fob. Maybe I should go on the fob as well. Which I hope you will develop over time, and I hope with the positioning, which we'll talk later about, you will understand what I mean. Okay. There are squad member duties and squad lead duties. I will start with squad lead duties because obviously there are much more. The squad leads provides anything to achieve the squad goal, like coordinating with the other squads, relaying information to the other squad leads, or pass the information to you, set markers, give the objectives, and so on. The member has a pretty easy job. He just kills enemies, obviously relays information as well, and he positions himself independently, and his goal is to achieve the objective. Now some people will ask definitely, why the fuck are you showing us this Fidelis? Vestal is here, right? I know that, for example, I remember Vestal because Vestal, once we lost the fob or whatever, Vestal was in the team speak, yeah, we need a new fob, and I was super pissed. And I hope you understand why I'm super pissed, because it's actually my job. So it's not like I'm scapegoating Vestal now. It's just the latest example. There are several people who have done this before, and I just hope that if you're not a squad lead, just stop backseat squad leading. It's really annoying. It's nothing wrong with suggesting new threats, like, okay, you just check the main base and suddenly the logic truck respawn, which got destroyed. So you can say, okay, squad lead, the logic truck just respawned. Okay, I have acknowledged it and to my tactical considerations. Why is it annoying to backseat squad leads? With this wonderful schematic you see, I have the local chat usually, the squad chat, the team speak, and the squad lead chat, and usually all chats are really busy, and I have one more chat than the squad members, which is obviously the squad lead chat. So if you backseat squad lead, you just keep spamming my chats as well, which is really annoying, especially for the squad leads. And if you notice that, for example,
user was moved to your channel.
You see someone, you see the enemy logic truck flanking far east, for example, of Hemp Farm at Cora, and you try to tell it me, but I don't react, maybe because I'm busy talking in the squad lead chat. You can use the TeamSpeak as well. That's what TeamSpeak is there for. So you can relay the information to the other squads directly, like saying, okay, the defending squad, watch out, there's a logi truck flanking far east of your cap. They will build a fob there and come soon. So the other team members get the information. Don't always rely on the squad lead to give the information to the others, because like I said, I can be really busy, especially with the squad lead chat. Okay, now communications as well. I know that some people have trouble with calling out enemies because they never did it properly or whatever. So I will just quote for the medicine prevents of this lecture the US Marine Corps officer candidate school tactical I forgot what it is, document. And we will use like 3 points of this immediate actions upon enemy contact, how to call out context if you see any. We will use especially direction, description, range, like if you see somebody, example for call out and shot in squad, direction southwest of market, squad dynamic 100 meters off the cap. Everybody in squad should know what to do with this information. What I like to do is like do the alert like enemies, then the direction and maybe the description if I have the time, because usually I start shooting and more than the alert and the direction I will not tell, at least in the beginning. Once I maybe killed 1 or 2 enemies and I have to reload or whatever, then I can say description range. But like I said, if you don't know how to call out enemies, just do the direction, description, range thing. It's really effective. Okay, we already did the positioning. That was quickly. General tips to the positioning: use your brain. People don't use the brain. That's why I actually list this point, because I often see that people just bunch up brainlessly and then wonder if they get outflanked. Check the map frequently. Anticipate hostile positions, which comes with the game intelligence, and with the map checking as well, because good squad leaders always always refresh the markers and remove old markers. So if you're not sure where the enemies will come from, if you check the map, usually you will see markers. And of course, communicate like with the TeamSpeak or the squad chat or whatever. Communication is the best thing to get the information on. Okay, so I will show you, I think, 2 slides. Exactly 2 slides. What's wrong with both of these slides? I don't think I don't have a mouse here. Anyway, you see on the left picture, I think it was squad lead, I think it was public invasion, and we were in village. Anyway, you see, although it's not that bad, the squad is a bit spread out, it's still pretty bunched up.
User joined your channel.
The enemies were on attack mark, if I'm not mistaken. For example, some riflemen, for example, could go northeast of my position, just cover the field and flank around. One guy went already south, flanked around, but nobody supported him, which is a bad thing as well. On the right side, you see how to fuck up a defense clip completely, because you see like the whole insurgent team is just on the north side fighting all the red ones, the US army, and there's like one sneaky guy, squad 5, coming there with a lot of trucks, setting a ready point, and I think they took down the fob on the first attempt and they lost the game. So that's what you never want to have, just focusing on one side and abandoning like the south, for example, the south side of French, which is the common flanking spot for French. So now we see 2 things. Maybe some people will recognize the right one, but I will start with the left one. What's wrong with the left one? You see squad 9 in the middle of the hill, which is not that bad. But the problem is all other squads are just gathered around. Nobody is. Do you see the mouse? I think you see the mouse now. If not, west of train tunnel, you see the squad approaching. Nobody is even blocking them or spotting them, whatever. Pretty sure they went all the way inside train tunnel. And like I said, all other guys were like clustered in train tunnel, doing actually nothing. Squad 9 blocked a bit of the approach from the south, but still the west and east wide open. Now you see on the right side what one squad with a proper spread can already cover. Like the cap, the fob itself, and lots of ground around. It's like 9 people can cover lots of ground, and that's why you should always spread out attacking or defending, because you just need obviously one guy to spot the enemies, so you spread out rather big, and then if you get the contacts you communicate, and then there's some maybe, for example, Squad 2 sees some enemies flanking around the southwest, she will call out the guy in the southeast and maybe in the west side of Grandel, and they will just help them. Okay, that's like the non-interactive lecture part of mine. Can mute the stream now. I will give you like 5 seconds. And then we can talk about TeamSpeak. I will do some, because I was too late to do some proper slides with pictures, how to define the cap, for example. So I will do it now in the game tactic room. So I will keep it streaming, but just mute the audio of the stream. Okay, any questions so far?
Lazy fuck couldn't complete a slide!
Yes, well, I will do it now, so it's actually a bit interactive, and you can ask me stuff during I do this. So any questions? Or whatever. Okay, I guess it's a no. I will...
The entire thing could be summed up to just use your brain.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the problem is people don't do it. That's why I have actually to say it, list it. It's like Nordic did a lecture. She showed us how to peek and how to use the cover, and like everything is logical, but sometimes you just need it called it out so you can actually pay attention to it. And maybe if you understand the reasoning behind doing certain stuff, maybe you will pay more attention to this stuff, and maybe you will do it more often in public or scrim. Anyway, I think I will start with Cora. With the defending on hemp farm, for example, there were several cases. Let me draw some stuff. Okay, one reason, not sure who was on Ohm's squad. I think Ohm is here himself. So you have to defend hemp farm and a fort which was like here. What the yeah, purpose time. You can actually talk during the TeamSpeak part now, but I don't think there's much to talk right now. Anyway, like I was pushing with my that's better. My squad was around for fuck's sake. My squad was around here, and I think Nordic always kept pushing around this line. So you can you stop spamming the fucking
User joined your channel.
Anyway, you see like here my squads, they're like more or less the front line, which was not a nice front line. That's why I will talk about this later. Nordic squad did more or less a proper front line towards the south. The reasoning behind obviously is so the enemies get boxed in on defense cap, and if they want to go for hemp farm, they have to go all the way around here. So actually the defensive squads can actually either send some guys to the attack or just spread out more. Okay, we have 9 men on the defense floor. So obviously the west is completely secure. Maybe you just send one guy to the cheese grinder for whatever reason, because it's a annoying building if the enemies are in. So you have 8 people left. Obviously, one guy on the cap. The fob and hub were close by. I would actually say 2 guys here. And I think sometimes we had 2 guys. I think when we were playing against NG or LX or however they're called now. We had sometimes 2 guys, but the rest, like, they were all clustered on hemp farm for actually no apparent reason. You could actually send maybe one guy there. LAT could definitely go somewhere around maybe here and here. So if they wanted to use a logic truck to build a fob like southeast, which what they did later, they could either kill it or at least call it out. I have 7 people, so I have actually 2 more squad members unused. They either support could be like around here. But this could be a spread. Actually, that's, yeah. For example, this could be a spread, which we not did, at least not on the defense. I actually could maybe send one guy into the river because the river's a common approach. So that's how our defense on a hemp farm could look like. You need just to spread out. Obviously, one guy on the fob, one on the cap, so they can tell. Maybe the rally point will be placed somewhere around the north or northeast. And they must just spread out because they will not come from the west because it's locked down. They come from the south. You have already lots of people waiting there. And you have the defensive advantage, so you can initiate the contact first, maybe shoot 1-2 people before they actually notice what is happening, and then you have still the manpower advantage. Any questions to this thingy or whatever? Because I'm pretty sure there's some guys in Ohm squads who are listening right now. Maybe you have something to say or any questions.
If you were playing with MGs or ARs, where would you prioritize putting them?
Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say later, but yeah. But the first thing is I would not take the MG, the machine gun, this heavy machine gun like the PKM or the M240 or what it's called. Use the automatic rifleman with the scope on it because it's just a laser gun, especially like the M249, which is like it's actually a laser gun, the SAW MG. Where would I place it? Well, obviously the MG should be somewhere where she can use the bipod and lock down lots of ground. For example, the MG could be positioned on the defense. Maybe either on some roof here, so you can check all this area if somebody approaches, or just go somewhere around. I'm not sure where exactly. Maybe right on the hub. Depends which guy should defend the hub on. Because sometimes this squad is on specific people, but sometimes if nobody says anything, you can like go on right on the hub with the MG and just bipod. People normally don't check the hub roof, so you actually get some kills. Or you get some in the river. I think here are lots of cover because there are lots of little hills and trees, and you can just watch down the river if they try to rush through the river for truck. Would be my guess. Yes. Any other questions? Okay.
No.
Then I will save the slide because maybe we'll do a lecture later. With proper thingies. So I already did everything.
So can you just clarify one thing for me? So
Yeah.
in that blue box that you've drawn, that you just got rid of, was there another squad holding that direction?
Yeah,
I wasn't quite sure.
Yes, like this one it was my squad, and this one was Nordic squad, and we usually do like the fire line thing, so the enemies are boxed in. Let me quickly just... So like I said, this line was completely locked down, no enemy passed through. that's why the defensive squad don't have to bother about the west side, obviously, because there will be no enemies. That's what we will do as that's the job of the offensive squads, to lock down the enemies.
Okay.
For example, if you go on so OP first light, because that's a pretty common map, you will have the fort usually somewhere around here or wherever. So you will have 2 squads attacking, or and in the best case scenario, 1 squad will push from the south, other squad will push from the west. There will be a little gap. The gap should be filled by the defense squad, which will be the green ones. So maybe like 2-3 guys of the defense squads will just cover this gap so no enemies will pass through, maybe support them on the attack. The rest of the defense squads will, well, obviously enemies will not come from the north, northeast, or maybe one guy will be like in the far east, one guy somewhere south, one guy obviously on the FOB, on the hub. One guy should be on the eastern building, because you should always have the buildings inside the cap manned, so the enemies cannot just sneak in and suddenly they're in the building, because it's usually a big pain in the ass if the enemies in the buildings. Yeah, so actually I've already 8 people, so the 4th guy could either go somewhere around here, or he helps somewhere in the north out. This would be like, this is like the perfect, in my opinion, the perfect plan to how to attack castle if you're US, or other way around, if you are Russian side and you want to attack storage, you want to have them boxed in, and the defense squad just especially covers the flanks, which are not covered by the offensive squads. If you understand the reasoning behind. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess, okay. Okay, back to Cora. So
User joined your channel.
The spreading is really important, because like you saw, I will just show it. Like here you see in the picture, the spreading is really important, like because 9 men can cover so much ground. I will actually show you a better picture. 9 men, I think it's like, this line is like 400 meters. Like 1 squad can cover so much ground. We had like, I think enemies were on OP, on Fortress, or what's called Bunker, I think. As the cap called, and they built a fort, and I was like, okay boys, make a nice line, so they cannot actually flank around, which they could not. We pushed like in a nice line and took down the fort. So you see, that's like how much ground you can actually cover with just 9 men. You see like half of the team is down there at Valley Overpass, bunched up and not covering much, at least not effectively. So, for example, in Cora is not that big of a map, and that's why I want to. That's why you need to actually spread out, because you can cover lots of ground with really less men. So let's go back to the example. Like Nordic was pushing here with his squad, did actually a pretty nice fire line. The usual fire line of my squad was like this, because they were all bunched up. Not sure why. I will just focus now on how to spread out on the attacking side. The ideal line should be, like I said, let's make it a fine dotted line, should be this. 1 squad can easily cover this and attack Grape Farm. So like my squad was always bunched up here. But I had literally 9 people just in this little thingy. It was really lucky that I think Ohm had like 1 or 2 members in the squad, and they helped out in the north, which should actually not happen, because 9 people should be more than enough to cover this small line. Let's me actually just it's like 150 meters. 9 people are more enough to cover. Of course, there will be lots of enemies on the roofs and so whatever. But you have, for example, this little stream, which covers a lot. You can actually go like around here. There's lots of cover. There's lots of cover. This should never ever happen. This is just really ineffective. For example, one guy could flank around, go here, go here. Nobody from my squad ever took this to the stream unless I went there, and like the whole squad followed me for no apparent reason. So this is definitely not a good spread. You can always like have 2 guys bunched up, which is not a bad thing. So if somebody dies, the other guy can get a trade. But it actually should look like something like this with 9 people. That's how an effective line should look like on Korra, not like for the draw, like all bunched up in this little area. It's just, you don't get any kills as squad, you just get killed, and you don't make any move on handform, obviously, because if you're all bunched up, enemies can easily just flank around. I think one of the problems why my squad was so bunched up is because there was a vehicle, there was the 30 mil here. And nobody managed to kill it. First thing is, you have smokes, you can always smoke up. Second thing is, if you cannot, as LHG don't get close enough, just go for the lucky shot, because still it's the map is not that big. So if you get to the ditch, which is rather easy, it's just like about 140 meter shots. I think Vester was around here and did a random shot, like 200 meters, and still doable if you're decent LET. 1 minute. Fuck's sake.
I need to go AFK for a sec.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, for example, smoke usage. Smokes are really important. Smoke it up, don't wait for the squad to make the call out smoke. If you see like, okay, this north part is completely open, there are either a 30 mil which is blocking the approach, or like 2 million snipers on the roofs, smoke it up. No shame in using the smoke. People rarely use the smoke until they get the order to use it. Any questions to this? Maybe somebody who was in my squad?
No, but I was in Ohm squad.
Did you catch the defense?
Yeah, that was good. I was mainly thinking about taking out the 30 mil that was parked up at way up north there.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and the other AT was tasked with hunting it down, so we went out to get closer, but we couldn't quite reach it. And it was, there was infantry as well, so we didn't get any support. And how should we think in those situations? Should we even try to push out from our position?
Where did you push from? Did you push from here, from the north, or did you try to go from the mids, or what did you try?
If I remember correctly, I think we pushed out north along there's a small wall there. I think it was actually on the other side of the wall in the beginning, way up north.
I know what you mean.
And I pushed out north, and well, it was actually like half a squad of infantry moving there, so it was hard to reach it, and shit got salty, and Ohm squad was blamed a lot for not taking out the AT, but we didn't have much support. Sorry, taking out the 30 mil, so I don't know what you're supposed to do in those situations where you have a lot of infantry as well.
But actually, Ohm should not get any blame for this, because it was actually the squad's the job of my squad, which failed miserably because they were all bunched up in this little corner for no fucking reason. Anyway, like in the ideal, like there should be like 2-3 riflemen helping you out in the north, shooting people, so that you should be able to smoke up, get close, and get a shot on. The thing is, you don't always have to kill the vehicle. Usually one shot is enough, and if you see like, oh my god, the other squad sucks ass and cannot help me, just go for the random shot from the wall, which is 200 meters if you have a light anti-tank should be doable. Just go
Yeah.
for the lucky shot.
Yeah, that was actually the situation, because bombing I pretty much psyched out on me basically. So I ended up taking a 300-meter shot from the defense cap and actually hit him once, and then he pulled back to the to the position where he is now.
That's what you do. If you cannot get close enough, just go for the random shot. Either they get scared or you hit them actually, and they have to move anyway. I think Vestal did later a random shot on this position, like from 200 meters, and he moved again, and then we could actually, the north side was not covered by the 30mm anymore. Some riflemen were able to kill 3 people in the north, and we were able to push in all the way to the east side, and we pushed all the way from the southwest, and then we actually took great fun. The problem was the defense collapsed, but that's a whole another point. So, did you actually smoke, go? Did you use the smoke?
Not initially, no. Not when I got close.
Always use the smoke. Not sure. Just use the smoke. Doesn't matter if you're attacking. No shame in, because, like, for example, if you attack from the east side, you have to use the smoke, because if you get around here, you don't have any cover at all. So smoke is a must-have. And I just didn't catch why my squad never really used the smoke. Just use the smoke, people. Block it off, throw it like here, make a nice line, and you can push all the way to the smoke. Maybe get behind the wall here, behind the ruins, and then smoke again, and then you're already on the cap or pretty close to the 30mm and you can actually shoot it for a safe shot. Any other questions?
Any tips on how getting attention?
What did you say? Your mic is pretty bad.
Yeah, I got to fix it.
Almost just type it out, I think.
What do you mean with attention, like communication wise, or do you want the attention of the enemies, or? Like if it's really important, just keep spamming. People will usually notice you, or just scream shut the fuck up and then tell you information. Usually the squad should pay attention to it, so either the comms were heated because they were either already attacked from many sides, or just you have to be loud. What did happen? Did you see like the enemies were on the FOB and all other guys were focused on the enemies which were not on the FOB? Or what happened exactly?
I mean, if the FOB is in danger, just shout like an autistic in the TeamSpeak.
Yeah, that's like that's what's be like an artist, shouted in the TeamSpeak, if necessary, first shout in the squad chat, because the squad defensive squad is like, if there were enemies around here, all other attacking squads cannot do much, so just call it out like an artist in the squad chat, and if it's really needed, then maybe in TeamSpeak. Not sure how the squad comps in Ohm squad were, but I usually try to have nice and steady comps. That's why, for example, you use the proper callouts stuff like this here, and so the comps are more or less quiet. And if you like lots of enemies in a close area and squad is in a close area, use the local chat so you can actually hear the squad chat, because I noticed that some people use always squad chat, although they could use local chat. Yeah, I think it comes with the time that people can actually pay attention while fighting and get a like, okay, there's enemies southeast. Or at least the most important thing is the squad lead should hear it, and the squad lead can make the call because people will listen to the squad lead. Usually should listen. Yeah, it could be that like almost talking squad lead chat. Maybe almost just not experienced enough as squad lead to like handle so much comms, because like I said, squad lead comms looks like this, and usually squad comms and all other comms are really busy, so lots of information will be missed. Not sure. I think almost here. If you have can say something to this, I think now's the time. It's not like a shaming board here right now. If any questions about the gameplay, whatsoever, just ask. Let me read the stuff. Yeah, I think that, like the thing with the defense on the NG game was, no offense to the defensive squads, but you were all the clustered one. Like you were, for example, let me copy this sheet. I never get why nobody pushed over. Like there were. Sometimes there were like people on the fort, but I don't just get why you stay so close with so many people next to the fob and cap, when you could actually like send one guy here and one guy here, and then you would have maybe heard the truck which was coming there and built the fob, and maybe everything could have played out totally different. But like on Ham Farm, people were like always clustered like around here. Of course, you will never here if they go for a flanking fob. If you have a bad mic because if on a laptop, then maybe say somebody like if Juggler's in squad, and then say, yeah, Juggler, my mic is bad. Can you maybe listen more to my caller so you can rely them further to the squad, to the squad lead. So something like this. Like I said, communication. If like the microphone is broken, then you have to communicate even better. Cody, you can please talk. I'm too lazy to fucking read all the thingy.
Yeah, well, there was at some point during the last scrim, it was a bit unclear whether we were actually defending or attacking, or at least it was
the chorus scrim, right?
Yeah.
Which squad were you in?
I was in Ohm's squad,
Okay.
but it was just, I don't know, it was just for some points during the game, it was, at least for me, a bit unclear whether we were defending or attacking, because we were not really on the cap, and we were sort of pushing out against some contacts, and it was a bit unclear.
Yeah, that's like I said, the squad leader task, and if the squad leader is unexperienced, sometimes you cannot do this. That's why. Well, because the thing is, right now with the Reguline squad lead, we don't have many experienced squad leads, so we have really to rely on the squad members to play it intelligently. So I think pretty sure said like once or twice we have to defend the cap, and you see, okay, 2 squads are already pushing. It's like always the same. If you have 3 squads, 2 attack, 1 defense. So if you have to defend and maybe almost not really clear about this, then just look on the map. You see 2 squads of pushing, and then position yourself independently. Pretty sure almost really have appreciated some guys just would have take the initiative and just position themselves independently around the cap, around the fog, whatever. That's why I want to teach you this stuff. But yeah, not sure if I maybe should do a squad leading lecture maybe. But yeah, just play on your own then and just try to make the best call.
I'd like a squad leading lecture. I think that would be a good thing for the future.
Yeah, good. I think
it's good for everybody if they know that like what the squad leaders have to do. Like,
if
you can
mm-hmm.
think with them and call out the best things, like not stupid things like there's one guy there and there's something, I hear something, or just stupid shit like that.
It's nothing like if you hear a truck really fast south, for example. I'm pretty sure, like, I think Nordic squad had once a truck going south, and it was called out in TeamSpeak. I think pretty sure it was the Logi truck which later placed the 4-pointed defense right down. So sometimes you have to pay really attention to squad member to the comms as well.
User joined your channel.
Squad comms and TeamSpeak comms, and yeah, you need a experienced squad lead who can handle all the information stress, because it's really stressful to squad lead sometimes, especially like if shit goes down and the squad lead comes blow up and squad chat blows up. The squad members just have to say, okay, squad lead seems busy, I have to do my stuff on my own. I will communicate with over the squad chat with my other squad members and maybe say, okay, I heard a truck going east. Cody and Jackler, like if I'm Cody, Jackler come with me, we'll check out the east side. Nothing wrong with that, I guess, as long as I play the objective. Yeah, that's what you should learn, and that's why I explained in this lecture a bit about the squad lead tactics as well, so you can actually get a bit of the mindset of a squad lead and maybe say, oh, okay, squad lead wants to have to do this or that, like defending or attacking. How should I position myself? So if I'm the squad lead, I would be happy as well. That's the whole point about the lecture, but especially like this last part about the positioning.
I think pretty much everybody that's in here understands how to play the game properly. But the problem is to improve the gameplay for everybody on the server in general. Is there not some way that you could put some of this information onto something that people that are just new or people that don't understand the game can actually go away and read, and then when they come back to play on the server, it'll improve the game experience for everybody?
I mean, the issue with trying to teach puppies, they don't read. I mean, there are numerous guides and shit to help new players, but they don't read it.
Yeah, most people just want to shoot. That's why, if people are interested, I actually consider this pretty much as basic, but I don't see it happening often. And the thing is, like, the Rex don't do it often as well. Like I said, when I was attacking on the west side here, my whole squad was just bunched up in this little compound, and we just got shreked in the like first 10 minutes until I was like, yo, what the fuck, spread the fuck out, and then it got a bit better, but still it was not perfect. That's why I actually do the scrim, so you just get the awareness. That's why we'll download the VOD later and upload it later to my YouTube, and so people can check this out, because
I am back.
I noticed that people don't do it because they either don't have the confidence to do it, or they lack their understanding, or whatever the reason is. But some people don't do it, and most of the Rex don't do this.
There's also a very large degree of us being a relatively new team, and it just takes a while to get on the same page.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but still, like, even
this should happen automatically.
You can still communicate. Well, if you don't have the chemistry, then you have to more communicate. But then you practice your communication, and you get better in communicating things. So, yeah. Any other questions? So as I will go on with another slide. Seems like I know. Okay.
What did I miss?
Much. I don't know. I will upload the VOD later, so you can rewatch the stuff. It's like all about just spread the fuck out, use the brain, communicate. That's like the whole basic stuff, but I'm just explaining it to in cases like the last Crim or whatever.
He was explaining how to get laid in Belfast on a Saturday night.
Well, I mean, I think it's very few of us that are interested in men, but
I mean, you just go to one of the
Ooh.
premier
Speak for
inns
yourself.
and just keep knocking on a
Maybe
door
all
till you
gay
find
people.
something.
Anyway, I will show you a defense which worked pretty fine. It was against OB. And actually OB, I will tell you some other stuff about OB as well. First I have to delete this shitty line, but it doesn't work.
Nope.
Hello.
How?
So later, when OB really wrecked us, well, not later, it was like really in the beginning.
User
my squad was
disconnected from your
defending,
channel.
Nivalova as British force, right? And I was pretty happy about the defense. That's why I just will.
User joined your channel.
That's why I will just show it to you again. I had to do some micromanagement, but in the end it worked pretty well. Like, this is the cap zone of Nivalova, more or less. And so we had to fop around here next to the barn and the hub as well, and we were like 9 guys defending and looked like this. One guy was here, I was around here and mortared a bit. I had like 2 guys around here, Chocolate was around here, I had Whoopi somewhere around here, I killed everyone who was approaching. I already have 6 people, so 3 more people. I think like one was around somewhere here, one lot. Other lot was somewhere around here in the north. I had someone around here, and we more or less something like this. OB tried like once to go around the east side, place a fort, got immediately destroyed by these 3 guys and me, which pushed later to try the same on the west side. I pushed with the 4 guys and the 3 guys on the west side, and we completely destroyed them as well, and they never even touched the cap or even got close to the radio or whatever. Yes, Cody was on the hub, right? I know that the hub defending and FOB defending is fucking boring, but somebody has to do it, and if you see nobody's doing it, then either call it out or do it yourself. Because if nobody defends, then you should just approach and kill it. Like I said, this defense worked really well. You see just 2 people were in the actual cap next to the FOB. The rest were all around and covered all the common approach areas. So if they now wanted to approach Nivalova, they either had to go all the way around here. Maybe they would get spotted by the guys on the roofs, because I think you can look down all the way down the road. Or they had to go up all the way the hill up, and pretty sure they either would get spotted around here, or Ruby would have heard them, and even if they would go all this way, it would take at least 5 minutes. So that's why you want to have such a defense, covering all the common approaches and make them enemies to go for the big flank. Okay, let me do. Yeah, now I will show what did not work at all at the OB scrim. Pushing the cap. So the fight was usually around step there, and for example, pretty sure like everybody attacked at least once from the north side. So how did an attack look like if I checked the map, or if I were attacking with a squad? The attack looked like something like this. One guy camped around here, one guy camped around here, and all the other guys were here. What did OB do? OB had the MG on this roof. What's up? Whatever. Had the MG on this roof. Locked all this area down. The whole area. Nobody bothered to fucking kill this MG. She was like the whole game there. I think it was on the British. I think even both sides, doesn't matter. And what had happened, I think the hub was there. People were just like here, enemies flanked around from here, and it were really like 3 or 4 guys, but they did such a good job in just flanking around and killing everybody, that we never made to the cap. So once we were like inside the stepping a bit, they just get the crowd, kept everyone around here, and then got behind, and then everything was gone. Like I said, always spread out. 9 men can cover lots of ground. For example, of course you have to communicate, of course we have to play more together so we get proper communications going, but still you can, even if you don't have much chemistry in the beginning or with new players or whatever, you can still use a plan. For example, okay, this barn is a good spot to have a scope on the roof, so you can look down all this way around here. Maybe some kind of scope, like automatic rifleman or normal scope. Why the fuck is the marker red? For example, the other scopes goes here, so he covers actually all this, but because usually OB just really literally out in the open in the field, nobody bothered killing him, and killed this MG, so this is all covered. I was sometimes flanking with, I think, Roma 2 around here. And like the other 5 guys, like 2 guys could either push here down this alley, the other guys could go here and then push through the middle, the other guys push down here. I would push here, and then we would have like a really nice spread in the end, which should look like this. But it never happened because people were just bunched up all the time. And you see, like, again, 9 people can actually cover lots of ground. Of course, there were lots of enemies, but still, take it slow, don't punch up too much, spread out, try to flank around, and you can actually kill plenty of enemies just with 9 people. That's what OB did, because we were all bunched up. They were just, like, literally just 2 or 3 guys on each flank, and they killed like a whole squad. Yeah, of course you need some game knowledge again, like to know like there's an entrance, you can go here, whatever. But still, people just keep bunching up, and that's what you actually never want to do. Stay spread out and keep moving. If I go back to Quora, when we're on the Russian side, and let me delete the stuff. So we had the same fob on the same position. Nordic squads were usually attacking from the north, like around here. Ohm was like around here and defending the cap and the fob a bit. And my squad was around, should be around this green line. That was my actually plan. What always happened is they were bunched up again all the time, and it was either like this or like this. Let me check the message. See you, Chocolate.
See you.
User disconnected from your channel.
So what happened? Nordic Squad did actually a pretty good job because they were mumbles and they know how to spread out. What I noticed about Ohm Squad, they were they were like either all clustered around here and then maybe just one guy here. And my squad was the same, pretty much the same, either clustered all around here or around here, and never anyone bothered except for me sometimes, just to flank around. And even when I went alone to go for the flank, I just get killed because if the enemies played clever, 2 people enough to kill one flanking guy. So whoever was in my squad, I think, not sure if I mean to delete all this stuff. So for example, I was like, okay, boys, we will try to get this line. I was trying to communicate the stuff. The problem is with squad is you cannot draw stuff. If you could just draw stuff or just draw a line, so okay, people will hold this line. Maybe people would actually start making a nice fire line, but that's another thing. So like what I wanted for my squad is having people around here. Oh, for fuck's sake. Around here. Like later enemies always cross the river for no reason, so maybe like from somebody from Omen's squad, I think later I told like Insult, which was my MG, and Roma, who was my scope, to just go in the river here and camp it, like scoped MG, scoped rifleman, and you can look all the way down. I can lock down all the servers, so I don't have so I think because enemies will always keep crossing the server for no reason, especially from the mosque side. So like MG, you can always go like if you're on cover, go on the river, just go prone and camp, lock this whole area down, because it's a river, it's flat, you can see pretty much in. I actually deactivated the things, but anyway.
What the fuck, Fidelis?
Yes, Erika. So, for example, I think Insult and Roma are not here. No, but what they should have done is like just go in the river. Insult could have just get somewhere around here, locked all this way down. Roma would be like his second guy, who either just runs around, kills all the enemies who tries to flank around and go to Insult, or try to shoot Insult, because MGs are usually the baits, because you're stationary, you have an MG, you're easily to track down. That's why, for example, like a rifleman, especially a scope rifleman, if you have to cover such a big area, distant area, could just have the MG run around, get the kills who try to push Insult, or who try to peek Insult. And all my other squad should have pushed around here, and then we could have attacked, which happened in the end, but it was like took like too fucking long. Like later enemies were suddenly around here, which was really annoying, because we had to fight the enemies first back and then go there. And like what happened, like there was one MG here. Let me delete all the stuff. There was like one MG here, just one single MG, and my whole squad was just pinned down, literally pinned down. Nobody tried to peek, throw smokes, whatever. I went with Romato in the river. Romato covered me. I could push up because I communicated with him. Pushed up, got a few shots on the MG, even though so he had to go and cover, bandage himself. Could go up there all the way here, kill them, kill the enemies who were like just prowling the river doing nothing. So for example, if you had an MG like here, could have just easily locked down the river. And then once the enemies were down here and the MG was down here, suddenly my whole squad was able to start moving. But it should never happen that just like literally 7 people stay in this market compound, whatever, or anyway, just that bunched up and to make no move around. You could, for example, go around here, which would take some time, yes, but still better than doing fucking nothing. Or you just shoot back, which usually people don't do, because the MG was like around this wall and it's pretty open. So even if you have to hit him once, or he has to go and cover and bandage himself, which is more than enough time to get in the river, and then the MG doesn't have the advantage anymore. Yes. Any questions to like pushing anything? Attacking? Or,
nope.
No.
So the main thing you're getting at is just spread out.
Yeah, it's always spread out, because like I said, technically, because like Kowa itself is not a pretty big map, technically 2 squads could lock down this whole area, so no enemy could cross. Of course, there have been lots of enemies, that's why you should have 3 squads, but 9 people can cover lots of ground, like here, lots of grounds on defense and on attacking. Like here on attacking, you can cover so much ground, but people just don't do it. Don't know why. You can flank around. You're not bunched up, so 1mg is killing everyone and whatever. For example, this is like so annoying. This was luckily in pub, but still sometimes happened like in scrims. I smoke up the roads, suppressed the enemies, killed the enemies, but my squad was like, oh yeah, I got pinned down, nobody pushed with me. Like,
I remember that one.
Even Vessel was in like,
that's happened so many times in that situation.
Fucking come on, if I make it and I get shot by 20 enemies, I make it somehow and I shoot back, kill 5 enemies, smoke everything up so we can actually cross with the knife out and don't have to actually shoot people because nobody can actually cover this approach and fucking cross. I know this is pub and it does not often happen with frags, but sometimes it does. For example, like what I already draw on Cora, where the people just didn't push, but I could alone with one guy just covering my ass, and I could take down MG and took down 2-3 guys around here, and then suddenly my whole squad was freed up and we could actually push for checkpoint. That's spread the fuck out. That's like basic important stuff. On defense or on offense, like I said, that's what actually got us fucked on when we were attacking against OB, because we were always bunched up. Especially like it's like Farnos, and my squad, we were always bunched up. Just 2 guys flanking around, took down a ready point and shot us in the back, and it was totally horrible. Should never happen again, hopefully. Yeah, any questions, any situations whatsoever? Any remarks?
No, Best best lecturer, EU?
That was the only lecture so far. So yes, of course,
Thank you. I think it was good, and I think we should probably do more when we get more experience, because I'm 100% sure we're gonna have more problems down the line.
Definitely, but this is the basics. Right
yeah,
now.
exactly.
That's what I consider as basics. Okay, of course I have like almost 1,700 hours. So
is that a humble brag I hear?
Yes.
Fuck off, Philos.
But still, I consider this as basic. Just like it's like common sense. If you all bunched up, you don't need many people to flank around. If you spread out, you can cover lots of ground. Don't get flanked around and whatsoever. And use your brain, communicate, whatever. But people don't do it because I don't know why.
I think the best thing is let the squad leader do his job, listen to him, and anybody that's experienced or regulars, push out with the guys that haven't a fucking clue and spread them out, and just don't leave it all up to the squad leader to do it.
If you notice, like the squad leader is totally overwhelmed because he's new, and you're like experienced, like you have several hundred or 1,000 hours of squad in, and you did some squad leading and you're pretty confident and whatever, then say like, okay, spread out more, like for example, Chuck, like go south, nobody's on the south side, and take a bit the initiative, not all the squad lead initiative, but like try to help him out so the squad lead can focus more on communicating with the other squads than micromanaging his people.
But now you're talking about public games or scrims? Because there are not really new players in scrims.
In scrims, well, the thing is, we don't have any proper squad leads anymore, except for me, or at least experienced squad leads. Maybe some guys will come back, like Boop, or maybe Joseph will start more squad leading and so. But still, we don't have any experienced squad leaders except for me anymore. And I think pretty sure the new squad leads will be a bit, at least a bit overwhelmed. So if you like use your brain and save the squad leads doing the micromanaging, you have him or not again, because actually, in my opinion, it should be the job of the squad members to do the positioning, not the squad lead, because you see the squad lead has shit ton of stuff to do, especially the communication is really annoying. The squad lead, squad members like real relaxing. So position yourself independently, help the squad leads a bit with the micromanage, and should help out in pub and scrims for sure. Pub games don't know. Don't give a damn.
Wait,
about
is
pub.
Fanaticus not being a squad leader anymore?
He's just rarely playing, I think.
Yeah, he's
Same
really
for
playing.
Prolans.
He doesn't have much time and doesn't
I
play
see,
often.
I see.
So that's why he is still plays sometimes, but not often. Prolans is away as well, and yeah, that's a problem.
I feel like there's a meta to attacking and defending each point that you learn, like with so many hours in game.
Just another point how you not to defend the fucking FOB. Just think, nobody on the FOB itself, everybody is like at least 100 meters away, which is too far off to save a FOB.
Yeah, I think we should, when we play scrims, dedicate somebody to guarding that fucking fob, because it's a boring ass job, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's not something that most people will do on their own. I did it last time after we lost the first fob on Russian again, on what's it called, Jora,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. I did it after we lost the first fob, but I should have been doing it from the beginning because I was basic rifleman.
Yes, if you're basic rifleman, it's like, if you really just have if you're rifleman, so you don't just have an iron sight or whatever, do the fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly. But instead of
don't rely on
letting people think, just do it.
Don't rely on other people, because like I said, people don't think, so you have to think on your own. And maybe if everybody starts thinking on their own, maybe people will start to think together, and then you can actually be pretty good. But that's a whole other process.
Yep.
So if you see nobody's on a FOB, just call it out. And if you're like, for example, a medic should maybe not cover a FOB. Depends on the situation, but like maybe the edit, for sure the LAT should not cover a FOB. So if you're LAT, you see somebody's not covering the FOB, and you say, okay, somebody has to cover the FOB. I'm LAT, I have to go off the cap, because LATs have always go off the cap. There will be never vehicles on the cap. Then you say, okay, whoever is the scoped rifleman, for example, Whoopie, you have to cover the FOB. It's fucking boring, but sometimes you have to do it. FOB and hub.
Yep.
And one guy on the cap always, so you can always check the cap status. And like I said, the rest is around the cap. What I actually wanted to do, is a nice like how this is like a multiple layer div. I think I will just start throwing it right now.
Fidels, your push to talk is really far away from your keys.
My push of talk is my numpad divided simple.
You use,
they have the German layout. It's a different layout keyboard.
Like
how much different is it?
You have a fucking DSO? What else I missed? God damn. You came prepared. I'm impressed.
On an unrelated note,
German efficiency, everybody. German efficiency.
Vestal, you talk to
NG. Check the stream, but maybe mute the stream so you don't hear my shitty voice twice. How do I draw stuff here? Okay, so just think about like a multi-layer defense stuff. You will have like a red zone. Can I adjust the transparency somehow? Blah 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 blah. Yes, I can. Yeah. So you will have like fuck me. Multi-layer defense. So you have a red zone. The red zone is like stuff you don't want ever enemies to be close, like the FOB and the cap, and in this situation maybe the rally point as well. Then you will have orange, not orange, I'd say orange or yellow zone. You want This is like the yellow zone. This is like the area which should be covered for sure, like the surrounding buildings. You never want to have enemies in the buildings because it's a pain in the ass to get enemies out of the compounds again. So you want to have some guys in the compounds. Maybe some compound as well. So just like this circle.
User joined your channel.
Circle is like you should hold this. If you don't have the manpower, or like before I keep talking, there will be a green zone. Oh, never mind, that's the fucking circle. And there's a green zone. Green zone is the zone which you.
Fidelis, Angie are starting to take numbers.
We
Hey,
invest.
Do you want me to
wake
send
up.
it to
We
me
are
there?
more or less done, so if you don't want to listen, you can already go, but that's like the.
Anyone playing, come up to me in group number 1.
User left your channel.
Yeah. Anyway, before I will quickly finish this. So you have like
User left your channel.
the red area. Enemies should never get
User
close.
left your
You
channel.
should get the brain for okay, it's the 4-minute cap, or sometimes it's certain buildings. Then you have this yellow area which you should hold. All the surrounding buildings around the cap, or positions which are really annoying to or really important to get into actual cap. And the green zone is like the ideal zone which you should hold, but you can actually retreat back to the yellow zone if needed. That's how you should try to think if you want to play on a defensive cap. So you can prioritize what should I cover, what should I not cover. Just like this schematic should help you a bit. Lecture is done. I hope you enjoyed it, you learned some stuff. If you have any further questions, you can always message me or feedback or whatever.